Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Welcome to the Department of English, Government Postgraduate College, Attak. I am Nasir Ali Shah, Assistant Professor of English. Here I am with another lecture on Hemingway's novel, The Old Man and the Sea. Students, in our previous lecture, we read that after having some beer on a seaside restaurant terrace, the old man Santiago and the young boy Manolin go to the old man's shack, picking the old man's gear and all this stuff. There they again chat with one another. The old man utters a very important sentence. He says, 85 is a lucky number. This shows his optimism, his hopefulness and confidence, because the next day is 85th day, and before that he had been unsuccessful for 84 days in catching any fish. So he is confident that on the 85th day he would definitely be successful. Then after some chat, the old man asked the boy to buy a lottery with a serial number of 85. Then they discuss, as they do not have any money to buy that ticket of lottery, and the boy says that he can borrow this money from someone which is needed to buy that ticket, $2.50. The old man himself says that he can also borrow this money from someone, but he tries not to borrow. Here again is a very important sentence and a philosophical sentence spoken by Santiago. He says, first you borrow, then you beg. It is a very important sentence with a deep meaning that if you get on a habit of borrowing money from the people around you, then you do not feel ashamed of even begging from others. So this is a very important sentence. From the next sentence, we are going to read the text today. The boy asked the old man, "Keep warm, old man," the boy said. "Remember, we are in September." The boy, as we have read earlier, here again shows his care and love for the old man. He is very considerate. He takes very good care of the old man. That is why he asks him to keep warm, because it is September and it is just the beginning of the winter season. "The month when the great fish come," the old man said. The old man replies out of his experience. This sentence shows his experience. He says that September is the month when the great fish come. Anyone can be a fisherman in May. And in May, in the month of May, almost average sized fish come along on the coast or on the waters near the coast. Everyone can be a fisherman by catching small or average sized or with fish with the average weight. But in September, great fishes come. That is why it is very difficult to catch and kill those fish. That is why the old man says that this is the month when the great fish come, and not every fisherman can be able to kill those big fish. "I go now for the sardines," the boy said. Now the boy again says that he is going to bring some sardines, as we have read previously in the text that the boy offers the old man to bring the fresh sardines, which is a small fish used as a bait for the old man's use for the next day. When the boy came back, the old man was asleep in the chair and the sun was down. As it was evening time, the sun was almost setting down when the boy was there before going. But when the boy comes back with the sardines, the sun was down, the sun had set, and the old man had fallen asleep. The boy took the old army blanket off the bed and spread it over the back of the chair and over the old man's shoulders. This act of the young boy again shows his care which he has in his heart, care and love for the old man. When he sees that the old man has fallen asleep and the sun has gone down and there is no sunshine, it is definitely a little cold. That is why he takes a blanket off the bed and spreads it over the old man's shoulder, who was sleeping while sitting in a chair. They were strange shoulders, still powerful, although very old, and the neck was still strong too. The creases did not show so much when the old man was asleep and his head fallen forward. This is in fact the old man's physical description as well, and moreover it shows that he was a very old man while he was asleep and his head had fallen forward or bent forward, and the creases or the wrinkles at the back of his neck, which are the symbol of the old man, which are the symbol of the old age. So when his head had bent forward, those wrinkles did not show much. His shirt had been patched so many times that it was like the sail, and the patches were faded to many different shades by the sun. The shirt he was wearing, it was also very old. It shows old man's poor economic condition. He did not have much of money, as indicates his house, little cottage, and the other stuff in the house. Moreover, he had been unsuccessful in catching any big fish and selling them in the market, so that he could have bought something new for him, or he could have some money. He had been unsuccessful for almost 3 months. That is why the shirt that he was wearing, it was also very old, and it had been patched so many times, means it had been torn off or in rags, and it was sewn with the pieces of other cloths, which means patches, that it looked like a sail. Earlier we read that the sail, or a piece of rough cloth which is used with a boat for rowing with the help of the wind, that is called sail. The sail which is used was also in patches, and the old man's shirt here is described is just like the sail, and the patches were faded to many different shades by the sun. Faded mean they had become lighter in color. When a thing becomes old due to use, due to long use, its color fades or becomes lighter. The old man's head was very old though, and with his eyes closed there was no life in his face. His eyes were closed, and it seemed that there is no life in his face. His face seemed to be lifeless. The newspaper lay across his knees. Earlier we read that when the boy went for the sardines, the old man was reading the newspaper because he loved to read the news of the baseball, which is his favorite game. While reading the newspaper, he fell asleep, and there lay the newspaper across his knees, and the weight of his arm had held it there in the evening breeze. And over that newspaper, his arm was resting, so the newspaper did not went flying off with the breeze. He was barefooted. He was also barefooted, means he did not have any shoes on his feet while sitting there. The boy left him there, and when he came back, the old man was still asleep. The boy again goes somewhere, and when he returns again, the old man was still sleeping. "Wake up, old man," the boy said, and put his hand on one of the old man's knees. When the boy again came there, the old man was still asleep, and he very gently and respectfully put one hand on one of the knees of the old man and politely asked him to wake up. The old man opened his eyes, and for a moment he was coming back from a long way away. The old man opened his eyes, and it seemed that in his sleep and in his dreams he had gone to far off places, and when he woke up it was hard for him to wake up, and it seemed that he was coming back from a very long way away. Then he smiled. Then, while looking at the boy, he smiled. "What have you got?" he asked. While opening his eyes, he asked the boy, "What has he brought?" "Supper," said the boy. "Supper is evening meal." The boy said that he has brought something to eat. It was the supper or the evening meal. "We are going to have supper." "I am not very hungry." At first, the old man refuses to eat anything, and pretending that he is not very hungry, he refuses to have. He says that I am not very hungry. "Come on and eat. You can't fish and not eat." This sentence, again spoken by the young boy Madeline, shows his care, how much he takes care of the old man. Though he was a very young boy, a little boy, almost 10 to 12 years of age, but he talks very sensibly, just like a mature and adult person, and moreover he behaves and acts like a mature person. Here he is behaving with the old man as if he were a very mature and old person, and the old man Santiago seems to be just like a little child. In other ways, we may think that the young boy, while taking care of the old man, he is taking care of the old man in such a manner as the parents do for their children. So this is very impressive thinking on the part of the boy. "I have," the old man said, getting up and taking the newspaper and folding it. The old man gets up and takes the newspaper off his knees, which was there, and folds it, and he says that I have. I have means I have gone for fishing without eating. When in the previous sentence the boy says that come on and eat, you can't fish and not eat, means it is not possible for you that you go for fishing without eating. And the old man says I have, means he has been doing this previously for God knows so many days, because he hadn't any money and he did not have anything to eat. That is why he says that he has been doing this. Then he started to fold the blanket. After folding the newspaper, he starts to fold the blanket which the boy has put around his shoulders while he was sleeping, sitting in the chair. "Keep the blanket around you," the boy said. This is again, very caring sentence. The boy thinks that it is old the boy thinks that it is cold and the cool breeze is blowing, and as the old man Santiago is very old and weak, he might catch some cold. That is why he asked the old man to keep the blanket around him. You will not fish without eating while I am alive." This is very confident and sensible approach of the boy. Again, it is just like parenting. It seems that he is a very mature and adult person, and he wants to assert his authority over the old man, just like the parents assert their authority over a little boy or young children and urge them to do something. Here the boy urges the old man, and in a way he promises the old man, and he says that while I'm alive, as long as I'm alive, it is not possible that you go on fishing without eating. It means that the boy always wants to help the old man, especially in the matter of food or eating something. The old man becomes happy while hearing this sentence spoken by the boy, and the old man prays for him, and he says, "Then live a long time and take care of yourself," the old man said. The old man prays for him, "Have a long life and take good care of yourself. What are we eating?" Now the old man asks him what they are going to eat, or what the boy has brought to eat. Students, this is enough for today's lecture. We shall continue reading the text in our next lecture.